So I got a bit of a funky repair here today. This saddle slot is too wide and I want to make this bone nut fit in there. So this is kind of like a quick cheat that you can use to make that happen. I'm Dave with Stringing It Together, and let's dive in. So as I said, this will be a bit of a funky repair here. I have this saddle, which is apparently an $80 saddle. Now you don't really need to ever spend $80 on a saddle, because you can buy these blanks for, $10 to $15 Canadian online, and then just shape it yourself. It's pretty easy. But apparently this is an $80 saddle, and the reason this is a funky repair is because there's a crack here. Now I might get pounced on this by the YouTube wolves, but because normally a crack here is pretty much a fatal blow to a bridge. You wouldn't really want to. The easiest route here normally would be just take this right off and put on a new bridge, okay? But what happened was the guy tried to fix it himself, so he squeezed a bunch of Gorilla Glue in here, and I'm not sure about this stuff in here, but anyway, he's put a bunch of Gorilla Glue in here. The crack isn't all the way through, so it's just the top here. You can actually see some marks where he sort of tried to push it together there. And I had the strings on here for a couple weeks just to test it out, and it's actually holding up. So the other thing is, if you're taking off Gorilla Glue, it doesn't quite come off the same way as a wood glue. So since it's holding up, I'm just gonna go with it. Yeah, so first thing is gonna be just cleaning out the slot, because I don't actually know what he put in there, but I'm gonna get it out. So normally I wouldn't use this as a tool, but I tend to just grab what's in front of me and it works. So we're going to need to make this thicker, and we're going to use a bit of super glue, pile it up. The good thing about this is it's reversible. If you wanted to take this saddle and put it in a different guitar, all you'd have to do is scrape back the super glue, but super glue hardens to a poly. So in terms of affecting the tone, you still have the bone, the string vibrating against the bone, and then that going directly onto the soundboard. So I'm not too worried about it. First I want to clean this up though. Normally you wouldn't want to touch the top of that, but I'm trying to get rid of these marks that he left on there. Then you're just going to put a thick layer of super glue. You want to make it nice and thick, and make sure that it goes all the way to the bottom, because you want a solid contact from the bottom of the saddle to the top of the bridge slot, if that makes sense. So that's going to take a long time to dry. I like to give it 24 hours just to cure, and then once it's done, then you can basically just scrape it off. So to shave it down is pretty easy, and I mean, you can use this trick for lowering your saddle or making a saddle, whatever. So you're going to tape a piece of sandpaper to something. In this case it doesn't have to be flat, but it's easier to work with if it's flat. And then you're just going to very lightly, try not to put any specific pressure down. I'm just kind of holding it just enough so that it goes sideways without slipping. Okay, so this super glue will basically just sand down like a plastic. It's like a hard plastic when it dries. And you want to stop and check, because you really don't want to go too far. I'm sort of not following the advice that I just gave you, because I want to actually file down this side more, since it's a bit higher and it's sort of a bit of a curved line on that saddle slot. Normally you would just hold it as little pressure as you can, and then, you know, switch grips. Another trick is if you want it to be perfectly flat, you can use 2 hands and do like a figure 8 pattern. You know, if you really want to get really crazy with it. I don't really find that's totally necessary, but once you get down to the very end, it can be. So it can be helpful if you know that it's fitting in here, and then just, you can color this in a little bit, and that way you know not to go past that point. So now that I'm down at the end, I only want from here to here. File down, this part actually fits, so I've just put a piece of tape here, and then just making sure not to just go like that, just taper it a little bit, if that makes sense. So it's very close to being fit in there. So you can see I can lift up the guitar with it. I just have to go a hair more to get this side down. And you know, this is a trick that you can use for getting them out as well. If you have elastic bands, that works good too, but I don't want to go downstairs and get them, so you can just use tape, and that way you won't get any like rough marks on your saddle. You can just use a little bit of leverage. That we're not putting any marks on anything. And you can even polish up the last little bit while it's in there. A little bit of sandpaper, put some tape down to protect that, and then you can get a nice clean white bone on there. So obviously you want it to be all the way down because that's your connection to your soundboard there. And then you don't have to be this crazy, but you want it to be tight enough that you can pick it up like that. So you know that it's all the way down there. That's going to give you a solid connection, because that's really your connection to your soundboard, is the strings vibrating there. So it's really important to get that saddle fitting perfectly. So that's a good example of showing that there's not really a one-size-fits-all method for a lot of repairs, and if something works and it takes you less time, less money, then you might as well do it. You know, it took me hardly any materials. Just a bit of super glue to fix that slot versus taking the whole bridge off and replacing it, even though that's sort of the proper way to do it. So yeah, hopefully you found that helpful. Give it a thumbs up if you did. And if you want to learn more about guitar repair and leveling, crowning, and polishing your frets, then you can download my free mini course down below. It's called Foolproof Fretwork. Download it, put in your email, and it's yours. And yeah, I think that's all for now. I'll see you next week.